there are quite a few in here. I reckon if I just spend a few minutes and are patient, I will get something.
His name is known by anyone, even slightly familiar with survival shows, for a good reason. With a career which includes starring in several shows, authoring numerous books, and advocating for several causes, Bear Grylls is definitely one of the most important TV personalities of the last 2 decades. While no one denies Bear's astounding ability to get out alive from the harshest and worst natural conditions, his behavior towards wildlife is often questioned and frowned upon, making him quite a controversial personality. However, there's more to Bear Grylls than just what people see on TV. Stay with us to know all about his career, personal life, religious and political views, scandals, and even details about his ever-growing fortune. Bear Grylls is certainly no stranger to controversy. However, regardless of the many eyebrows people have raised in his political and environmental views, the animal cruelty accusations against him undoubtedly were the closest to affecting his career the most. Ever since his beginnings on TV, Bear has been strongly criticized for killing animals for a variety of survival reasons while out in the wild. But the situation reached its lowest point in 2014 when dozens of complaints were filed to the Office of Communication (OFCOM) of the British government against his show The Island for featuring the killing of a caiman. Although the office dismissed the first allegations, later in the second season it was found that a protected species of an American crocodile was killed in the show, raising around 600 complaints directed at OFCOM and Channel 4, the latter insisting that the incident was a genuine and regrettable error, as the existence of said animal was unknown in the area. While neither Channel 4 or Bear faced legal consequences for the killing of wildlife, in 2021 he admitted to regretting such incidences. Definitely in the early days we were killing way too many snakes and stuff like that in the name of survival, he told BBC Radio 4. Though for some people the issue is already water under the bridge, others still disapprove strongly of Bear's ways. As of 2022, Bear Grylls' net worth is approximately $25 million, but his impressive fortune shouldn't surprise you. Actually, Bear's extensive career in the entertainment world, added to his businesses and other profitable deeds, make him one of the most successful reality TV personalities of the last 2 decades. Besides starring in the internationally known series Man vs. Wild and hosting Escape from Hell, Bear is an accomplished TV producer, with credits in successful projects such as Survivor Games and Everest Rescue, on top of briefly lending his voice to the series American Dad. Although it's unknown if Bear has ever received financial compensation for achieving many survival records, it's for sure that his side career as a writer, his business Be Military Fit, high brand sponsorships, and merchandise sales are quite profitable in themselves. In short, Bear is more than just a guy who enjoys risking his life in the wild, actually making quite a good living from it. In case you haven't been up to date with Bear Grylls' current deeds, you'd surely be pleased to know he's as active as ever. In recent years, he's been involved in a variety of TV projects, the most notable definitely being the 2014 premiered series Running Wild, which has launched several seasons and spin-offs to this day. Well, Running Wild is everything we like to see in a survival show, and even more, what actually makes the show one of a kind is how it features celebrities from all walks of life, including Kate Hudson, Michael B. Jordan, Barack Obama, and Terry Crews. In 2022, Running Wild's spin-off, The Challenge, premiered, presenting a concept similar to its predecessor. But instead of just making celebrities complete their 48-hour journey in one piece, Bear's new challenge pushes them to develop the life skills needed to survive in some of the most isolated, remote, and dangerous natural places in the world. Regarding his life off-camera, nowadays Bears is an active public motivational speaker for the organization Becoming X, writing the book Mind Fuel, set to release in late 2022, and overall is just the same old guy we've got to know throughout his career. Even if Bear Grylls' fame as one of the most fearless guys out there speaks for itself, the truth is, there was a time when he wasn't as knowledgeable in survival and the outdoors as he is today. Born in London in 1974, Bear's full name is Edward Michael Grylls, son of Sarah and Sir Michael Grylls, a politician. Bear's early childhood was spent in Northern Ireland until his family moved to the Isle of Wight, which he describes as a brilliant place to be. Winters were spent walking in the rain, and in summer loads of people would come down, which was really good fun, he told The Independent in 2004. As expected, Bear's love for nature began at an early age. As a founder of Eton College's Mountaineering Club, his first independent trips took place in his teens, when the dream of climbing Mount Everest was foremost in his mind. However, his trips to the Himalayan Sikkim Mountains after his matriculation were very brief, as he soon enrolled into the Territorial Army, Britain's Army Reserve, as a trooper and subsequently as a survival instructor, learning the necessary skills to bear extreme outdoor conditions, such as warfare and unarmed combat present, before suffering a serious parachuting accident in 1996, unfortunately breaking 3 of his vertebrae and ending his military career for good. Although Bear's first extreme trips happened right after his high school matriculation, he didn't take part in extensive travel until after his release from the Territorial Army. Only a couple of months after his disastrous parachute fall, Bear headed to the Himalayas to finally accomplish his dream of climbing Mount Everest with his close friend Mick Crosthwaite, whom he'd met in high school and with whom he established Eton's Mountaineering Club. Regardless of being a trained survivalist, hiking up Mount Everest is never an easy task. According to his memoir, Facing Up, he and Crosthwaite's team trained an entire year in Wales to get their bodies used to the lack of oxygen before heading to the Himalayas, where a ground fall left Bear at risk of dying while buoyed up by a rope. Such a scary incident was only the first of many difficulties the team faced on their expedition, reaching its hardest point when Crosthwaite ran out of oxygen an hour away from reaching the summit, leaving Bear to climb to Mount Everest peak alone in May 1998, when only 23 years old. Unsurprisingly, climbing to Mount Everest peak gained Bear Grylls immense fame in his country. It was only the fact that he became the youngest Briton to accomplish such a feat, but also that he did it only 18 months after his nearly fatal parachuting accident. In 2000, he released his first book, his memoir, Facing Up, which detailed the entirety of his trip to the Himalayas, including the several years of training faced beforehand. The next year, he led a fundraising campaign for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution by circumventing the British Islands on a jet ski, taking 30 days to accomplish it. The following year, he once again achieved a life goal by graduating from Birkbeck College with a degree in Spanish and Latin American Studies. Later in 2003, Bear and his 5-people team crossed the North Atlantic Ocean in an inflatable engine-powered boat. The 19-day-long unassisted trip, 3,000 miles or almost 4,500 kilometers across the North Atlantic, was frightening according to Bear. It turned into a monster at times, one of the coldest, scariest, hardest expeditions I'd ever done. He wrote in a 2022 Instagram post in which he recalled his first son, Jesse, was only a month old at the time. In the end, the team's efforts were worth it, leaving their names to be remembered for such a fearless accomplishment. Most people can't say that they've broken a world record, but Bear Grylls is no way common folk. At only 31 years old, he, along with friends David Hempelman Adams and Adam Ville, held an open-air party while on the highest flight in history in an air balloon at 7,600 meters, about 25,000 feet. For the world record-setting party celebrated in 2005, the 3 men dressed in formal wear to raise funds for the Duke of Edinburgh's award program, which encourages young people to self-improve. Bear's second world record was set in the Himalayas, as he flew at 9,000 meters while on a Parajet paramotor to the south of Mount Everest. During the record-breaking escapade, Bear reportedly experienced lack of oxygen and temperatures as low as -76 degrees Fahrenheit or -60 Celsius, when his mask reportedly froze and his hands couldn't bear the extreme temperatures. Nevertheless, the experience was worth it. No other mountain in the world was above me. Below was Makula, Kanchenjunga, Lhotse, all the big boys, and then Everest. He recalled in an interview with The Telegraph. Bear Grylls' next record-breaking feat happened in 2008, when his team set the longest indoor freefall, breaking the previous record for only a couple of seconds. The following year, he set a Guinness World Record by becoming the world's youngest chief of the Scout Association when only 34 years old. Bear Grylls had already gained fame worldwide due to his many accomplishments as an adventurer and survivalist, long before debuting as a recruit in Escape to the Legion in 2005. His first great opportunity on TV came a year later, hosting the internationally famous Man vs. Wild, in which he taught the audience some of his most famous and admittedly controversial survival techniques. Man vs. Wild lasted 7 seasons on air until 2011, when Bear's relationship with Discovery was cut due to a contractual dispute. Nevertheless, Man vs. Wild was only the start of a highly successful TV career for Bear, who hosted and produced several projects such as the Survivalist series, Worst Case Scenario, and Bear's Wild Weekend, and the competition shows Get Out Alive and Mission Survive. Bear's extensive career in the entertainment world didn't stop at TV, though, as his online series You vs. Wild was praised for its innovative interactive format. He also starred in the revival of World's Toughest Race Eco Challenge Fiji, aired through online subscription platforms. When it comes to his career as a writer, Bear is quite accomplished as well. Some of the titles under his name include the factual Facing the Frozen Ocean, Born Survivor, and his autobiography Mud, Sweat, and Tears, though he's also authored several fiction books for both adults and kids. Bear Grylls has also contributed to several nonprofit organizations and causes since the start of his career. He's raised funds for charities such as the Princess Trust, Global Angels, Soldiers, Sailors, Airmen and Families Association, and Hope and Homes for Children. Although in his early career, Bear was a global warming skeptic, in 2008, he traveled the Northwest Passage in an inflatable boat in order to raise awareness about the melting of the polar caps. This change of view didn't happen overnight, though, as according to an interview with BBC Radio 4 in 2021, Bear admitted that it was a matter of observing the world around him which actually made him rethink his perception of global warming. 15 years later, I've changed. I no longer ask those questions. I've seen it over and over again, he affirmed. In his personal life, since 2000, Grylls has been married to Shara Carnings-Knight, whom he met while training in Sutherland to climb Mount Everest for the first time. Girls were not at the forefront of my thoughts, but this lovely girl was introduced to me by a mutual friend, and it all happened from there. He admitted to The Independent in 2000. Since tying the knot, Shara and Bear have welcomed 3 sons named Jesse, Marmaduke, and Huckleberry. Despite his demanding work routine and the risky adventures he involves himself with, Bear is actually a family guy through and through, admitting to avoid staying away from home for too long for that reason. Traveling is good, but if you're away from your family, then the fun part of it is eliminated, he said in 2004. While Bear does his best at teaching his children his survivalist ways, his practices aren't necessarily seen positively by the general public. Nonetheless, for better or worse, what really makes Bear Grylls such an interesting person is that he seldom does what other people would do. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.